So either beginning on your back or in a comfortable seating position, either one. And if you start in a seat and you need to move to your back, that's all good. So Tadasana is really a pose about strength, strength of a mountain. If you think about a mountain, even though it looks like there's no movement there is movement there. So there's a stillness, there's a relaxed power, and there's this sort of immovable stability that we associate with mountains, right? So Tadasana is our blueprint for all standing postures. So my question this morning or this evening is, how are you feeling in your own mountain self? Grounded, both grounded and aspiring? What is the strength that you're calling on for whatever your current situation is in your life? Every day is so different, right? So just take a few minutes to really feel the strength of you. If you're sitting, maybe you feel the energy of the earth pulling up or coming up through your sit bones, through your hips, your legs. If you're lying on your back, perhaps you can feel that through the back body space. Breath is easy. At this point, just really allow yourself to settle in and kind of experience that stillness and strength, but also this awareness that there's this living body, this soma, right? This living body that we're in. There's always some movement. And then gradually, everyone, take your time, make your way to your back if you're not there already. So once you're on your back, just settle in and take your legs into Tadasana. So feet parallel to one another, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And your feet could be quite close, or they could be hip distance apart, or they could be as wide as the edges of your mat. It's up to you. See what feels good to you in your body. And then engage your legs slightly. So think about that relaxed power that I talked about. Engage your legs slightly. So the kneecaps are pulling up, the thighs are engaged, right? Arms alongside your body with the palms up, and you might need to tuck shoulder blades under. Slightly tuck your chin. So this is our Tadasana, and in my humble opinion, I feel this the best when I'm on the floor. And I can feel all the spaces in my back body line touching the floor, and I get a really good sense of how upright I am if I were to just turn myself upright from this point. So bring your attention to the places like, well, all along your back body. So from your sacrum up to the back of your head. Is there a little space underneath your lower back? Should be a little space underneath your lower back. So you can play with this. If you were to tuck your bottom down, right? Or we would say put a anterior tilt in the pelvis. So bring your pubic bone towards your navel, low back towards the floor, right? So what happens to your Tadasana if you were to tuck the tailbone down, right? That takes me out of alignment. I actually don't even feel like my legs are very engaged when I do that. All right. And then if I excessively tilt the opposite direction, right, where I take my pubic bone away from my navel, get a big arch in my back. Okay. So now I'm out of alignment again. Find neutral there. Find neutral between those two positions. So not too much posterior or anterior tuck of the pelvis. And then same thing. What if you went up to the top of the spine, to the cervical spine? If you were to point your chin up towards the ceiling, right? And have this big this shortening of the back of your cervical spine, right? Or if you tuck your chin too much, all the way in, right? So find neutral there. Okay. So this is our blueprint right here. And the best we can, we want to try to remember how this feels. Just take a couple rounds of breath here. We'll add a couple things to this Tadasana. But just feel back of the hands are touching the floor. So the palms are up. The center of the back of your skull touching the floor. Thoracic spine touching the floor, and then both the lumbar spine and the cervical spine away from the floor slightly. How much of your back legs touch the floor? How much of the back of your legs touch the floor? Maybe there's a little space behind the knees. Calves are touching. Heels equally resting on the floor. Okay. So now, what if you just lifted one leg up towards the ceiling? So lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, say, press your sole of your foot towards the ceiling, and the left leg on the floor stays in Tadasana. So everybody probably did that pretty quickly. Let's lower that leg back down. Let's go really slowly here. What has to engage? All right, so now the right leg lifted up towards the ceiling. Can you feel, without changing anything, is your pelvis level? What's the engagement like in your leg that's on the floor versus your leg that's lifted? Can you find equal engagement in the legs? So if we were standing up, right? This might be actually the lifted leg, might be our standing leg, and the leg on the ground, our leg behind us, and we would be in warrior three. Okay, slowly lower the right leg and find Tadasana again, and then lift the left leg up. Feel the engagement. What has to engage? Obviously, hip flexor, probably some core engagement. So press your left sole of your left foot up towards the ceiling. Equal engagement in leg on the ground and lifted leg. Equal engagement. And release. Find Tadasana again. Okay. And then just relax. Let your feet fall out. Maybe shake the legs or bounce the legs, bounce the knees, just to get a little relief. There we go. Bounce the knees and soles of the feet to the floor, and a couple of windshield wipers. Okay, so even on the ground, very static movement, very somewhat easy, quote unquote. You know, I can still feel the engagement in my legs. I can feel that I was doing some work there. Okay. All right. So now let's roll on to our side. And you could rest on outstretched arm or bend your elbow and rest your head in your hand. But let's find Tadasana here. So stacking your feet, stacking your legs, and feeling for that same alignment that you just had. And you could turn the top hand so that the palm is forward, back of the hand. If that's okay, if that's comfortable enough. So here's our Tadasana. So feeling the invisible space, the invisible wall behind you with a floor against your back. Does it feel pretty much the same way as when you were lying on the floor? So feet are engaged, legs are engaged, but then you can roll over to the other side. Find Tadasana here. So obviously a little bit harder to balance on our side. You can press the bottom pinky toe into the floor. It'll help you find that engagement. Okay. So now from this side, you could use your top hand to help you balance, but let's come into Vrikasana with the sole of your foot on the inner leg, bottom leg. And you could take your hand to your hip, your top hand to your hip, and feel for your pelvis being level. So pressing the top foot into the bottom leg, inner leg, finding tree pose here, Vipassana. Standing leg, this bottom leg, standing leg engaged. Holding this for, let's go 3 more rounds of breath. 3 more rounds of breath. Really get the sense of this grounded energy, this stability, this immovable stability in one of our standing postures that we do a lot in Vipassana. So just release your effort and take your top foot now, and let's open up the front of the leg a little bit. So just a stretch there, the quadricep, before we roll back to the first side. Okay. So there we go. Then back to the first side. Find Tadasana first. Get nice and stable. Use your top hand if you need to. Bring your top leg, and your top leg. Bring your foot to the inseam of the bottom leg and come into Vrksasana on this side. How does the back body feel lined up? So head lined up, ears lined up over shoulders. Shoulders, respiratory diaphragm over the bowl of the pelvis. Got a nice long spine, straight-ish spine. It's not really straight because it does have curves, but long spine. Pressing top foot against bottom leg. And 3 more rounds of breath here. And then take your top foot and open up the front of your leg. And release that. And let's just roll onto our bellies here. Find Sphinx. Draw pubic bone towards navel. Draw navel up and in. Tops of the feet on the floor. And just a little bit of easy back bending, opening up through the spine. You could turn your head right and left. From here, then just slide hands underneath shoulders and press up to a table. And just work your body forward and backward. So rocking back and forth. A little mat maintenance here, rocking back and forth. And then find table. So what needs to be open for good standing postures? Feet. So we'll take the block between the ankles. And you can sit in on the block in Virasana with the tops of the feet on the floor. Tops of the feet on the floor. And just take your fists and kind of work the soles of your feet a little bit. A little massaging the soles of your feet. So this position for me, at least, is not super uncomfortable. Tops of my feet must be pretty open. But when I turn it the other way around, which we'll do here momentarily, I get a little bit of pain. So now come forward and turn the toes under. And the toes under. And you can sit back onto your heels or not. I've got my hands forward, sitting back on my heels. Pretty painful for my feet. So the bottoms of the feet, the fascia on the bottoms, the plantar fascia, pretty tight in my feet. So we're going to give this a few rounds of breath. Something you could do every day would really be helpful for your feet. I'm starting to really feel that. So I'm going to come forward now back to table and just tap the tops of my feet. Good. Then we'll come back to sitting on the block. You can have another block if you wanted this to be a little bit higher. but I'm gonna work now with my feet in front of my body. I'm gonna take one ankle on the opposite knee, and I'm just gonna roll my foot around in some circles. So we want the ankles to be open and feeling like they're pretty inspired to do some standing postures. And then the toes. So you could spread your toes like you're sweeping your toes. As I circle now, I'm spreading my toes wide like I'm sweeping something with my 5 toes. And then I'm going to curl my toes in towards the sole of my foot. Spread, curl in, spread apart, curl my toes in, spread apart. Good. Okay, switch opposite foot up, start with some circles. You can take that in both directions. Spread the toes. Try that sweeping. So as you spread your toes wide, sweep with the toes like you're sweeping the floor with your toes. Good. Right, then let's come back. Bring your ankles on either side of your block. So you're sitting in Tadasana again, and then come up to standing on your knees. And take the block out for a bit. So now it's a very short Tadasana, right? So standing on our knees, palms forward. And see if you can find that nice line up, ears over shoulders, the respiratory diaphragm sitting over the pelvic bowl. Nice. Reach through the spine. You can try this if you, seems kind of silly, but it's actually pretty effective. Just grab the top of your head, the hair at the top of your head, and just pull up. And feel the length through your spine. Okay, and we'll just open up side body here a little bit. So let's take right foot out. And you can take your block to the left side. Inhale, sweep your right arm up, your left hand on the block, and we'll open up right side waist here. And inhale to come back up and reach your right hand over to the right leg, left hand on the hip or up and over your shoulder. Gate pose. Inhale, sweep right arm up, left hand comes to the block. Open up sideways. And one more time, opposite direction. Got a little injury in my left shoulder, so not going up with the left arm in my body today. Come back to center, both knees, Tadasana. Maybe pull on your hair, feel a little length through your spine, get that nice alignment, and then we'll switch the block to the other side. Reach out the left leg. Right hand to the block. Inhale, reach the left arm up and over. Inhale, sweep back, reach the left hand out to the side. Extended left leg and reach the right arm up and over. And then just inhale, take this one more time in each direction at your own speed. Go back to center, both knees underneath. Find Tadasana here once again. Notice if you've got your head forward, can you pull your chin back in, line up your ears over your shoulders, line up the respiratory diaphragm over the pelvic bowl, press your knees into the floor just like you would if you, with your feet. Okay. Now from here, just stay standing on the knees if this is okay for you. Draw your shoulders up to your ears and then let them go. Draw your shoulders up to your ears and let them go. Do that a couple times. This just helps us find a little bit of length in the spine. Good. And then let's come to table once again. So come to table. Blocks or no blocks, up to you. We'll just do a couple rounds of cat-cow. Working through the spine. You can play with a couple of different things here. You might try really initiating this all from the pelvis, then up through the spine to the head. Or you could play with moving the head and the pelvis at the same time. You could circle as you cat-cow. Great, then let's turn the toes under again, so you can get all 10 toes under. And rock back towards your hips towards heels. Coming back, forward and backwards. So all 10 toes are turned under. Great, then we want to have hands forward, reach your right leg back, turn your toes under. Let's open up the calf. Open up right calf. So you can pulse through this. Just pulsing through, opening up the right calf. And then inhale, right leg up. So here we are. So we're in balancing on one knee, one leg lifted, but we still want Tadasana to inform our shape. So think about filling your back body space. You have a little arch in your back for sure, but filling through the thoracic spine. Lifted leg is pressing into the space behind you, imaginary space behind you. Hips, pelvis level. And bring the right foot out to the right, sole of the foot on the floor. Slide that leg out away from you as you reach your hips back. You could take the top of your foot, the back foot, to the floor, and just open up your inner right leg, inner seam of the right leg slightly. And then come back to center with both knees underneath your hips, a couple of rounds of cat-cow. Remembering that Tadasana is kind of our blueprint, right? It's home base. Let's take the left foot back, turn toes under, and pulse or hold Opening up. Left calf. Ooh, mine's tight. And then inhale, left leg up. And again, use Tadasana as your blueprint here. So pelvis level. Fill in sort of between the shoulder blades or the thoracic spine. So fill back body with breath. Feel like you're stretching or lengthening your spine. Crown moves forward, sacrum moves away or in the opposite direction. And then you'll sweep your left foot out to the left. Take your left foot to the floor, slide out slightly, and then reach your hips back towards your heels and working the inner seam of the left leg. Back up to starting position, both knees under hips, and a couple rounds of cat-cow. Okay, and then turn toes under. Press your hips up and back and come into downward facing dog. Okay, first dog of the day, no instructions there. Then walk your feet up towards your hands. Deep bend in the knees. Press up to standing. Press up to standing. So now we're going to work with our downward dog. Our Tadasana. Great. So just stand with a comfortable stance and line your body up in space here the same way that we were on the floor. So palms are forward, fingertips down towards the earth. Bring your ears back in space. So the ears are lined up over the shoulders. Your respiratory diaphragm is lined up over your pelvic bowl. Engage your legs. Okay. Blueprint for every other standing posture. Now, let's just play a little bit. So lift your toes. Then let your toes come down to the earth. Lift your heels. Lift your toes. Lift your heels. Toes. Heels. Shift weight to right foot, left foot, back and forth. Now circle around as if you were going toes, right foot, heels, left foot, toes. Just circle around. I'm going clockwise, but you could be going counterclockwise. And then find, to the best of your ability, the balance right to left, front to back. So we talk about the four corners of the foot, or the three corners of the three points of the foot, triangle, the middle of the heel, big toe mound, pinky toe mound. So you can find the balanced stance in your Tadasana. Draw the front ribs into the back body space. Good. Engagement in the legs, so pull the kneecaps up. Then relax that effort and try either, I had my feet about 6 inches apart. Try either bringing your feet closer together or farther apart. Just try a different stance with your feet and see how that feels. Find Tadasana again. Maybe you go to a couple different positions and see what feels good to you. See what feels good. Okay. And then find that optimal stance for you, for your body. Okay, because you might hear a teacher say, put your feet all the way together, you know, big toes touching, but that might not be the best stance for you. A little wider might work better. Okay, great. So what I find so interesting about, we're going to grab our strap now. What if you look around, go to the grocery store, watch people standing. So again, this is the blueprint for all the things we do: hiking, jumping, running, you know, any kind of movement, any kind of standing posture. And you see people in the grocery store leaning on their carts, you know, one hip out, the other hip relaxed. So there's a lot of bad standing. All right, take your strap. You got a loop in your strap, and you're gonna take both legs through the strap. You're gonna bring your strap up to about mid-thigh. And then set your feet up hip distance apart, so strap about mid-thigh. And then find Tadasana and break out against the strap. So you might have to play with the loop a bit, but break out against the strap. And notice when you do that, what else might contract or get tense. So relax shoulder tops. Arms are relaxed alongside our bodies. Draw your chin back. Ears lined up over shoulders. Sternum over pelvic bowl. Breaking out against the strap. Feeling where that might engage your legs. Hope you engage your legs when you break out against the strap. Okay, then we'll play with, you could drop the strap now, just let it rest down between your ankles. Take a block between your legs. And now squeeze the block between your legs. Relax the shoulder tops. Relax the hands. Squeeze the block between your legs. How does this help you find Tadasana? Does this do a better job of helping you find Tadasana? Okay. Squeezing the block. Good, then we'll kind of release that effort. Bring the strap back up to somewhere where you can have the strap and the block both engaged. You could even loosen the strap enough to take the strap around the block. Tighten everything back up. So we do this when we do our sacroiliac joint reset. Those of you who work with me, yep. So now I squeeze the block and press out against the strap. So that you could have it around the block. You could have it a little lower down and tighten it up a bit. Just have the buckle somewhere where it's not uncomfortable. Squeezing the block, pulling out against the strap. Kind of got everything engaged. Arms are relaxed, shoulders relaxed, palms forward. Notice if you have tension somewhere else in your body. This is Our legs, our mountain stability, our immovable, but relaxed power. Relaxed power. Yeah. Good. Okay. Let's take the strap. Keep the block where it is, but take the strap off. So that in and of itself is a good coordination move, right? You can move the strap over to the side. And let's take Tadasana at the top of your mat. Squeezing the block. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold. You might have a bend in the knees. Take your hands to the mat and waddle your way back to downward facing dog. Squeezing the block between your legs. So the legs are still Tadasana legs. We're just changing the angle of the body. Squeeze the block between your legs. Feel the strength, the stability. And then rock forward, come into high plank. Squeeze the block between your legs. The legs are still in Tadasana. Squeeze the block between your legs. Squeeze, squeeze, rock back, downward facing dog. Squeezing the block between your legs, waddle your feet up. Deep bend in the knees as you press yourself up. Astasana all the way up. Arms overhead. And then slowly release your hands through heart center, coming back to Tadasana. Palms forward, ears over shoulders. Low ribs, front ribs, back into the back body space. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold. Waddle or jump. Maybe you can jump your feet back with the block there. Come into downward facing dog. Squeeze the block. Draw the heels down towards the floor. Inhale, come forward. High plank. High Tadasana. Squeeze the block. Legs are still in Tadasana. Press hips back. Downward facing dog. Jump or waddle the feet up. You're in a fold. Bending through your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, release your hands through heart center. Tadasana. Let's do that whole sequence one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Relax the shoulder tops, everyone. The legs are doing the work here. So we're aspiring towards the heavens while we're grounded. Exhale, fold. Jump or waddle your feet back. Downward facing dog. Squeeze the block between your legs. Come forward. High Tadasana. Squeeze the block. This is still Tadasana legs. Press back. Downward facing dog. Jump or waddle the feet up. Forward fold. Bending through your knees slightly, sweep the arms up. And exhale, release your hands through your heart center. Find Tadasana once again. So find Tadasana. Squeezing the block. Relaxed power. Stillness. Stillness. Strength. Immovable. Immovable. Release. You can take the block out, walk around your space a little bit. And we'll use now 2 blocks or a chair. I'll show both. And we'll come into the warrior 3. So your blocks at the front of your mat. And let's start by backing away from the blocks a bit. And we'll have our Tadasana shape. And then as you can bend through your knees slightly, take your hands to your blocks. And as you straighten the standing leg, which will be our right leg to start, straighten the standing leg, lift the back leg, the left leg. So you come into warrior 3. So pelvis is level, standing leg is strong and straight, as well as the lifted leg. Right? For 3, 2, 1, and lifted leg comes back down. Legs are back into the Tadasana shape. Bend through your knees, sweep your arms up. And exhale, release your hands through heart center. Tadasana. If you want to use a chair, same thing, we're just away from the chair slightly. Put your weight now into the opposite leg. Bend through the knees. Take your hands to the chair. As you straighten the standing leg, you lift the opposite leg. Warrior 3. Warrior 3. I'm pressing equally through both feet as if I'm standing in Tadasana with both legs on the floor, on the ground, right? Both feet on the ground. I'm pressing through the lifted foot. I'm pressing through the grounded leg. And I've got muscle engagement in both legs. Pull muscle onto bone. For 3, 2, 1. Both feet come down. Bend through your knees slightly. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale through the heart center. And back to Tadasana, blueprint. Find it all. Imagine that you're on your back body and you're feeling that same alignment that you had when you were lying on the floor. Good. And release. You can keep the chair where it is if you're using a chair, or if you're not using a chair, the blocks, I'll show it with both. Let's take a wide stance. We'll find Tadasana in our legs, the blueprints, and then we're going to turn, get my blocks out of the way here, turn the right foot forward, scoot the back leg out. We're going to come into warrior 2. But before we move into warrior 2, can you feel for even pressure in both feet? So back heel turned out slightly. Front foot lined up with the edge of your mat. Let's go hands to hips. Both legs engaged. And then you bend through the front leg, keeping equal weight on both feet. Equal weight on both feet. Then take a look at your front knee. Line your front knee up over, right over your front ankle. Warrior 2. Inhale, come back. So it's both legs straight, feel the work in both legs equally, and then exhale, warrior 2. Okay, and let's just move with that a few times. So straightening the leg and coming into warrior 2. Great. Then this next time you drop into warrior 2, you can take your hand to the chair and come into a variation of extended side angle. Notice if you lost contact with the back foot. Drop the front shoulder away from your ear. If this feels too uncomfortable, just go to forearm to the thigh. If you're not using a chair, but you're using a block, it's on the outside of your ankle. Outside of the front ankle. The important thing is to feel the stability of both legs here. The mountain pose stability as we shift into another standing posture. Good. Then from here, straighten through the front leg. I like to slip my block back so it's lined up to the outer side of my front leg. And now I'm in the Trikonasana. You feel the equal engagement in both legs. You can play with a couple things here. Front foot, press big toe mound into the floor. Ooh. And at the same time, feel outer heel engaged in the front foot. So big toe mound, outer heel engaged. Good. Bend through the front knee and come up through warrior two. Hands to hips. Inhale, straighten both legs, turn both feet. Find Tadasana in this wide stance. Find your stability, your immovability, your stillness. Good. And then we'll shift to the other side. So shifting your chair if you need to do that, or shifting a block over to that side, you know you'll need it. Turn your left foot now out. Right heel comes out. And we come down into warrior two, hands on hips. Then straighten the legs, the front leg. Find equal strength and stability in both legs. And then just vinyasa that a little bit as you drop into warrior two. Press the leg straight. Then you can land in the warrior two. Notice if you've taken, a lot of times we pitch forward out of, we come out of the alignment. We get too far forward and we don't have any engagement in the back heel. So keep your engagement in the back heel, keep this leg engaged, keep the front leg engaged. And then here it is, either forearm to the front thigh, extended side angle, hand to the chair, or hand to the block, front hand to the block, which is on the outside of your front ankle, extended side angle. Feel for the stability in your legs. Stability in your legs. For 3, 2, 1. Take your top hand to your hip, straighten your front leg, slide the block back if you're using a block, right to the outside of your front lower leg. Trikonasana. Both legs engaged equally. Play with this front foot. Press into big toe mound, outer heel. Spin chest open. Stack arms if you'd like to. Trikonasana. So now we bend through the front leg. Take your top hand to your hip, bend through the front knee, and sweep yourself up through warrior two. Both legs straight now. Both feet is going in the same direction, parallel to one another. And then heel toe the feet together. And find Tadasana again. Find Tadasana. Coming back, to home base. Coming back to home base. Oh, what does that feel like to come back to home base? Okay. Okay. We're going to go through a couple of standing balancing postures, beginning with Vrikasana. And let's go in, we'll go in a little progression. So feet in Tadasana, legs in Tadasana, your comfortable stance. Lift your toes, drop your toes, lift your heels, drop your heels. Sway right, left, weight on the right foot, weight on the left foot. Do that whole circle thing again. And then find neutral. Find neutral. Engage the thighs, pull the kneecaps up, put your weight into your left foot and just rest your right foot on your left foot. Then go for the calf. And then you can go for the inner thigh. You might have to grab your foot. Hips even. Pressing foot into inner thigh and inner thigh back. Falling out is legal. Can you squeeze the imaginary block between your thighs? Release. Shake out the feet. Okay, other options are to have the chair. I'll turn this way, have the chair with the back of the chair facing you for a little bit of balance. I like whatever we're going to balance with in front of us, squarely in front of us versus off to one side, but you could try it this way as well. This just helps keep my body a little more in a little better alignment, I feel like. Okay, but now we'll take weight into the right foot. I'll demonstrate with the chair. Weight into the right foot. Rest left foot on right foot. Even in this simple variation of Vrikasana, can you feel for that same alignment? Your chin is back, your ears are over your shoulders, your sternum is lined up over your pelvic bowl. Take it to the calf. And then bring your sole of your foot to the inner thigh. Press the two things together. Imagine you're squeezing the block between your thighs. For 3, 2, 1, maybe. Release. Shake it out, walk around your space. Let's come to the top of the mat in Tadasana. Come to the top of the mat in Tadasana. Line up your ears over your shoulders. Draw the low ribs, the front ribs into the back body space. Find Tadasana. Imagine you're squeezing the block between your legs. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, fold through the knees and fold. Hands to the floor, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Squeezing the block between your legs. Squeeze the block between your legs. Inhale, come up to high plank. And exhale, knees to the floor, reach the hips back, puppy pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. You're standing on your knees. You're in Tadasana with short legs. Exhale, hands down to your sides. Reach the right foot forward. Take the right hand to the upper thigh, the hands to the upper thigh, and come into a lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot. Turn the back foot under and reach both legs back in downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward. High Tadasana or plank. Exhale, knees to the floor. Reach the hips back, puppy pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up, stand up on your knees. Exhale, release your hands down to your sides, left foot forward, both hands on the left thigh, come into the deep lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands down around your front foot, turn the back toes under, step back to downward facing dog. Squeeze the block. Tadasana legs. Inhale, come forward, drop your knees. Exhale, hips back towards your heels. We'll just get a little twist here before we come down to the floor. Inhale to come forward, reach the right arm up. And exhale, take it underneath the left arm, coming into a twist. Resting the right side of your head onto the mat. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, land back in all fours. Inhale, sweep the left arm up. And exhale, reach underneath the right arm. Come onto the left side of your head. Inhale, sweep the left arm up. And exhale, both hands underneath shoulders, cat-cow. Drop hips to heels. Sliding forward, come back to Sphinx. And exhale, roll onto your back. Releasing everything onto your back. Take a little twist here by dropping knees to one side and opening the arms up. And inhale, knees back up, knees to the left. Reaching arms out into a T. And inhale, come back up, take your legs long now. Take your legs long. Anything else you need, a happy baby, a couple more twists or turns. Take your legs long and find that same Tadasana shape on the floor, back on the floor. Same Tadasana shape back on the floor. Take your time to settle in. Take your time to settle in to this same shape we started with, the strength of the legs, the back touching the floor. Okay. As you rest on the earth. Okay. So really settle everything. Feel the support of the floor. Yep. Breath is easy. Things are relaxed. I'm gonna leave you in Shavasana. I've got a little bit of activity here in the house, so I'm gonna leave you in Shavasana. And stay as long as you like in your Shavasana, and I will see you on Thursday. I hope. Love, love, love.